Hello and welcome to the Dragon Den. I'm KingofDragons 5000 and today I have another action figure review. Today I'll be taking a look at the Hiya Toys Energized Godzilla from Godzilla Kong, The New Empire. As we have a look at another Hiya Toys Godzilla, he is charged and energized, ready to take on the next threat. Charged up and ready to go, this version of Godzilla looks quite impressive. Godzilla is going to come with two sets of hands. As we take a closer look at Energized Godzilla, Hiya Toys has done a great job with his paint scheme. This figure is cast completely in frosted translucent plastic and he looks impressive. As we take a look at the head sculpt, it still continues to be the best version of the MonsterVerse Godzilla we've ever gotten. The sculpt work is still spot on to what we see in the movies, and the paint job brings out that impressive sculpt. The high points of his scales are going to be painted in this very nice charcoal, and I really like the recessed blues that we see. His eyes are a little bit hard to find, as a little bit of white paint would have helped them stand out here. Godzilla's neck continues to be very broad, as it looks pretty accurate, as the sculpt work is still very solid. The scales pop wonderfully, and I like the details that we see on his gills. Godzilla's chest is nicely sculpted, as we have those very massive scales sculpted on very nicely, and the high points of the paint bring out all that impressive detail. The scales on the side of his body are also done very well, as the blues, blacks, and whites do a really good job making everything stand out. The layered scales on his arms are painted in this really nice charcoal, and the contrast against the blue looks quite nice. And we will see that impressive paint job go from his shoulder all the way down to his claws. It's a very impressive paint scheme here on his arms, however his claws are still not painted. Godzilla is going to have these massive legs, which is accurate to the MonsterVerse, and the detailing on them is spot on. That black charcoal paint does a really good job hitting the high points on his legs, and the blue looks really good on the recesses. And just like with his arms, it's a pretty consistent paint job from his hips going all the way down to his feet. And surprisingly, his toe claws are actually painted, as we do get that really nice charcoal and some blue highlights. Godzilla's dorsal plates still have a lot of impressive detail, as the sculpt work is pretty accurate to what we see in the movies. However, I do gotta criticize the paint job on his dorsal plates, as it looks like he has frosted tips rather than energy coursing through his dorsal plates. If the dorsal plates were painted in that charcoal color with white on the inside, it would look much better. And unfortunately, the frosted tips continue all the way down his dorsal plates going to the tail. Although I do like the blue used for the plastic, it does make the dorsal plate stand out nicely against the black of his tail. And consistency throughout his tail is done very well, as the black looks pretty good on the high points, and once again the dorsal plates are in this really nice shade of blue. Although the paint job is very nice, it's not accurate to what we saw in the movie, as he should be a much darker color and the dorsal plate should be dark with lighting on the inside. But I do gotta give Hiya props, as this is still a very impressive Godzilla. With the paint and details out of the way, let's compare Godzilla to our usual suspects. As you would imagine, Godzilla is going to be completely out of scale with both domestic toy lines and true 1/12 scale. His true home is going to be with the Hiya Toys MonsterVerse line, as he looks good with other Godzillas and Kong. Godzilla does have a hinge in the jaw, a ball joint in his head, and a ball joint in his neck. Arms swing out to the side and do a full 360. A hinge and swivel at his elbow. He will have a ball joint in the wrist. Godzilla is going to have a double ball joint in his midsection. His legs will kick forward, go back, out slightly, and rotate slightly. he will have a double bend in the knee. He will have a double ball joint in the ankle. And as we get to his tail, he is going to have multiple ball joints in segments on his tail. Hiya Toys continues to be very impressive with their Godzilla figures. However, this is already the 9th version of Godzilla that we've gotten. Although it is a very nice color scheme, it would have been nice to see other Titans, but Godzilla is still very good. I really am liking the paint scheme on this version of Godzilla. However, the dorsal plates are a point of contention for me. In the movie, the center of his dorsal plates glowed white, and this version just has the tips frosted. This is one time I think Hiya Toys has missed the mark on the paint job, as it's not at all accurate to what we saw on screen. One advantage that this figure does have is that it does glow under a black light. I do feel like the black light does a really good job highlighting just how good the paint job on this Godzilla actually is. However, it is the 9th version of Godzilla we've gotten, and the 8th time we've seen this mold. Although I do like the inclusion of the extra set of hands, it would have been nice to have other accessories such as the drones that attacked Godzilla. Energized Godzilla is still available on sites like Big Bad Toy Store, where I did pick him up for about $55. It is a very good Godzilla figure. However, I can see a lot of people passing on it, as this Godzilla really doesn't bring much to the table. But if you're a fan of the gimmick Blacklight, you're gonna want to have this figure in your collection. And thank you for watching another video here on the Dragon Den. But before you go, don't forget to hit that like button, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel, and check out all my other Hiya Toys videos. If you're in a position to help out the channel, check out my Patreon, where I have some exclusive content and early access videos. Check out my Instagram account for new and exciting action figure photos, videos, recent pickups, latest prints, and as always, ring that bell so you never miss another video. And until next time, my loyal Dragonites coming from the Dragon Den, I'm KingofDragons 5000, reminding you to redesign, rebuild, and reclaim. I'll see you next time.